It's Saturday, March 21st, and I'm here in Battell Chapel to give you just a very brief version of what you would have gotten if we'd been able to have our Sacred Sites tour this coming Tuesday, but we are scattered. So I'll show you around a little bit. It'll be very brief. Battell Chapel was built in 1876. It was a major project after the Civil War, though it is not a Civil War memorial, as some people think. It was the third chapel at Yale. There were two previous ones that were torn down, as were most of the original buildings at Yale. It seats about 850, though some sources say 1,100. It's actually 850. And it was built as the place where worship would have happened every day for the young men at Yale at that point. They were expected to be here. It was required. Chapel's been changed a lot since it was originally built. It was originally very congregational in style, big central pulpit, front screen. Lots of changes over the years. It's used as a multi-purpose religious space, though it was originally the Yale University Chapel, then it became the Yale University Church. This balcony up here on this side was added around the turn of the century because the student body had gotten bigger. It's also given us one of our big problems because it's a flat roof that leaks. What's interesting about the space is the way it's used today. It's used by almost all the religious groups on campus. Used by the Jewish community for high holiday services, used by the Buddhist community for various events, used by the evangelical groups. Often over the years they've used it for monthly worship gatherings. Yale Students for Christ had their weekly meeting here for many years. It's used by our church that meets here on Sunday mornings, and it's been used by just about everybody in time. One of the most interesting events was in, I think it was probably 7 years ago, and it'll happen again in a year. When the high holidays fall on a weekend, it is, of course, theirs to use. So the church moves out. 7 years ago, we moved into a tent on Old Campus, and it happened to be Ramadan at the same time, so Muslim iftar meals were in here every night, and they moved to St. Thomas More, which says something about it. This space is usable by any of those groups if they can make it work. And most of our groups are very generous and very flexible. The cross you see up on the wall actually comes off and is taken down for secular events. But there's a lot of Yale history here. Up in this window, that is the Jonathan Edwards window, and he's marked there. This is Bishop Berkeley. Oh, you can't see it because it's a little too bright. Bishop Berkeley was one of the original benefactors of the college and a great British philosopher. The windows are mostly names of faculty and other leading figures from around the building in 1876. This one window over here, I don't know if you can see it, it may be too bright. There's a classic looking figure. People think this is a Tiffany window, but it's not. It's actually one of Tiffany's students, and that is not the professor named Professor Thayer, but it is actually Seneca, the Greek philosopher. And over here, I don't know if you can see it, up in this corner way up there, yeah, you can see a bit of it. That's the actual Tiffany window, named for Samuel Wells Williams, who was one of the first American missionaries in China. One of the first scholars of Chinese language, and that's actually a Chinese funerary monument in the picture. You can see the colors which tell you that it's a Tiffany. I'm trying to think what else you'll need to know. Well, we'll talk about it live. Oh, I should point up here, the rose window. Let's see if I can get it. I don't know if I can change the light. No. There's a rose window here, which has a grapevine, and the motto, Qui transtulit sustinet, which is the state motto of Connecticut. That which is transplanted thrives, which is how I think they thought of themselves. There's a big pipe organ. It's actually in two pieces. One here. Let's see if I can shrink that down a little bit. Yep. And one up here over the altar. They're actually connected. It's just one organ, and there's a console up here. There's another console over here behind. And think what else you need to know. I think that'll do it, and the rest I'll leave for your questions.